Thank you for watching this Last Mile Profits video. In the first part of our Crystal Ball trilogy looking at 2026, we're going to be looking at technology and in particular AI. Keep watching to find out more. Last Mile Profits is brought to you by Parcel Pending by Quadient. Gary, it's that time of year.
Yes, it's just before Christmas, but if you're watching in black and white, it's just after peak, depending on when this gets aired. But yeah, we need to look forward from here, I think.
Well, exactly. And I think, as usual, it's a good time to think, what's going to happen next year? What are going to be the big trends, the things that are going to really move the dial one way or other in the Courier Express parcel and postal market? Who wants to kick off? I got a few ideas, but maybe you go first.
Well, I love a bandwagon. So let's jump on the AI bandwagon right out the gate. And I sort of been reading a lot about it, but now it's being described as an AI bubble. It's forcing up tech stock valuations in the US. NASDAQ is, constantly hitting new highs. And is it a bubble? Is it a trend? Is it Y2K 25 years on where everybody's worried about it unnecessarily? Or is it a gimmick? I don't know. Or is it really going to bring the change that everyone expects it to?
Well, I'm actually going to give a consulting answer here, and it is the price depends. And I think
how much do I owe you for that insight there, Marek? See,
you pay me nothing, and our viewers pay nothing, not a penny, for the pearl of wisdom that's going to come out of my. I was going to think of something better than mouth, but I can't, so I'll say mouth. Yeah, orifice sounded terrible.
No, not with your medical conditions. No.
Indeed. So, from my perspective, if people really plan it well, I think it's an incredible tool. Even when I look at my own sort of day-to-day life, if you're smart, because if you let AI take over, it actually changes what you'd want to do, sometimes in a negative way. But if you use AI well, if you instruct it really well, it really can make life easier. And the sort of use cases I could imagine are much better communication with your customer base via AI tools, not just written communication, but verbal communication. I don't know if you've had this, Gary, but I actually ended up, and I think I've said this in a previous episode, I was talking to a robot for about 15 minutes. And honestly, I did not realize it.
No, it's true. I'm going to play counterpoint to this because, we're both of a certain age. I remember, in my youth that computers and robots were going to take over everything. They were going to make our lives easier. We'd be living lives of leisure. We're going to be playing tennis and eating meals out of silver sachets, and everything in our homes would be automated. Everything at work would be automated, and there'd be such a surplus of labor. We would never have to do more than one or 2 days a week. And here we are, 40 years later, and it's absolute balderdash, as my teachers of that time would have said. So, is it really going to? Is this the thing that really delivers that automation, that mechanization, that removal of tedious jobs? Maybe we got it wrong. We shoved a lot of the tedious jobs out to India and bits of the third world to be done cheaply. So we have actually achieved it a bit, but I'm not sure how deep the impact will be.
Well, actually, I would argue that you're being a bit tough on technology. So if we just say AI, that's fairly new. But if we talk about technology generally, look at something close to our hearts, parcel lockers, which is a technological tool. It's improved productivity where it's well implemented, potentially up to tenfold. So I think a lot of things have been happening. Interactive delivery management has reduced the risk of failed deliveries. A lot of the tools that are more and more AI make our lives easier. So I don't have to wait. Sometimes it still happens sometimes, but sometimes I don't have to wait 15 minutes for a customer service agent to pick up the call because an AI tool is doing it. And as I said, sometimes I don't even realize that I'm talking to a robot.
No, but at the end of that call, I still think, if it's a really mundane inquiry, then yeah, I agree. I think if you spend if your job is, answering the phone and giving out information that could be found on the website or found on a portal or found in the app, and that's your customer service job, then I think you should genuinely be worried about AI because you're obsolete. There will always be inquiries that require a human interaction because they're too complex, they're non-standard, the information isn't available, or it requires a decision. And more often than not, most people, my frustration with customer service is it's the amount of time it takes to get to the point where they recognize it's not a standard inquiry and then you're going to get a response. So I think there's an element of that. But in terms of it being a revolution, I do think it's a step in the evolution of computing, driven by computing power and driven by, some of this logic. But I don't necessarily think it is the bold revolution that people are trying to talk it up into.
Well, I'll just come back. So I was listening very carefully. And first of all, the vast majority of calls actually do relate to the mundane stuff.
I know. I when I ran customer service at Hermes, over 70% of the calls were, "Where's my parcel?"
Absolutely. So this is where AI can help. And I've actually had a few examples where I think it was done brilliantly because the robotic voice that sounded human actually said to me, look, at this point, I've collected all the information, but I can see that your case is specific. I'm going to pass you over. This is where I got shocked, to a human assistant. And it was really well done. And in that particular case, because, I think it depends how it works, but in that particular case, the human got a brief and they were able to immediately jump in and support me.
No, and I think it's great. But I think there are a lot of companies out there desperately trying to find a way to shoehorn some sort of AI strategy into their business because their shareholder or their MD or their stakeholder of some description said, "What are we doing about AI?" If you haven't got an AI strategy, then there's something wrong with your company. Your business is going to fail because you haven't adopted it. And I think there are some excellent current applications. The ones you've highlighted, they're absolutely relevant. But I think there are also a lot of people scrabbling about trying to find a way to use this buzzword-enabled technology as like it's some sort of magic panacea to drive productivity or profit or growth or whatever else. And I'm not convinced of that yet. It all good things, but I'm not that convinced it's that massive solution.
We've already overrun. We're going to probably have to make 2 or 3 episodes on what's going to happen next year because we've overrun on time. I'm going to be talking on another platform about this whole AI picture because I think it's really, really a hot topic. I'm a little bit more optimistic than you are, but I think one of the key things, and this is where I'm totally in agreement, is there should be some kind of coherent strategy how to do it, and not we want to be there everywhere, but we don't really know how or what.
And exactly. And if I agreed with you all the time, Marek, how dull would this be?
Absolutely. Well, look, dear viewers, maybe you've seen some great examples of AI being used. If you have, then please comment below. If you agree with Gary that actually, it's a little bit overhyped, then also please feel free to write. If you agree with me, then, I'd love to hear that view. Gary, as usual, great talking. I think that we need to follow up now on the topic of next year because we only covered one of the developments that are actually.
Well, I'm desperately hoping this was an avatar version of Marek and we'll get the real guy next time, but we'll see. Thanks a lot.
Gary, I was looking at the subscriptions and realized that a huge number of our audience actually don't subscribe to watch our videos.
Really? That's outrageous. It's a bit like watching the BBC without your TV license. How can we keep it free if people aren't subscribing and letting us know they want more of this content? It's ridiculous.
And on top of that, if they're not subscribed, they don't get information about the latest hot episode where you can make one of your witty jokes and we can talk about something that is really important for our industry.
If I knew that a single act like that would make sure I got maximum time taking the mickey out of you, I'd be hitting subscribe in a heartbeat.
Well, look, so here we have it. Please, everyone, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is your opportunity. Click right now. The button should be there or maybe there. Do it now and have it done.